Shalom, shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Makakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Makakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, Were the Israelites in Egypt for 200 years, 400 years, 430 years. And what does Genesis chapter 15, and I'll read, give me a second here. Genesis 15. This is a vision that Abraham, the man of the Most High, received. 12 verse. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, and horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 430 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age, but in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites, which are Canaanites, is not yet full. So what's this 200 years captivity or affliction when it says 400 years? It also says that the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. The Amorites are one of the families, tribes of the Canaanites. And we'll prove that. Amorites, one of the people of East Canaan and beyond the Jordan, dispossessed by the Israelite incursion from Egypt. One of the peoples of East Canaan. The Amorites were one of the sons of, and I should tell you that, of Canaan himself, one of Abraham's sons. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite. So these were Canaanites. So it says here, coming back over here, and he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. You got certain Israelite groups say that this is talking about America. Then you have others that say this is talking about ancient Egypt, Mizraim. But then you have others that say, well, they only served in Egypt 200 years. What's that all about? And let me give you the, here it is. This is from WAC 100 hosts Israelites versus Nation of Islam debate part 2 live. Let's listen to a little bit. I'm at the 130th, 1 hour, 30th minute, 19-second minute marker of almost 4 hour and 30-minute video. So let's listen. And by the way, just to set it up, this was Captain Tazariak, Priest Alazar, and Captain Katazak going up against the Nation of Israel. But this is a different, this is like part 2. So these are not, the first interview you can catch was the NOI, the Nation of Islam. But this is like a different group. These are more, like I haven't heard the whole thing, and I kind of jumped around. I didn't listen to a lot of it. I only listened to the rest of it. And, you know, I say at the end of the day, they taught well. They presented the truth well. What's questionable is the 200 years. Something that the Sakari teaches, based upon what the leader said of Sakari. And also recently I came across a HODC video where they also said, I believe, 200 years. So I'm gonna let you listen to it and then I'm gonna close. And like I said, you get a chance, you watch this video, I may come back, watch most of this video or the rest of this video, and I may just do a response on the video. I might stop and go, you know, the video, put my 2 cents in, pursuant to Yahweh, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, of course. So let's listen.
First, then you conduct yourself in that manner. So we like to make the Bible is spiritual, of course. And the only reason I'm trying to bring it down to a level so that we can.
The Bible is spiritual, of course. You can get an Edomite Bible, put it on his mantle, read Psalms 23, the Lord's Prayer, and that's it. Not understanding the scriptures at all. Not understanding that the U.S. is in the scriptures that tell you the color of the Israelites. So it's a spiritual book. Then the others, they open the book and it's a spiritual connection with the book. And that's what the comforter is all about. The Holy Spirit, which is a comforter. There's a spirit that comes with this book. You just can't buy a Bible and get the secrets of the Bible. The Bible is not written like a textbook or a Harlequin novel. It's a spiritual book, and the way you answer one part of the book is with another part of the book. One chapter in the Old Testament, the answer might be in another part of the Old Testament or the New Testament. The New Testament, you come across the term as it is written. When Paul made this statement, our Lord made this statement, others made that statement, is obviously referring to the Old Testament. So a lot of times the answer in the New Testament is found in the Old Testament, but the Spirit has to guide you. That's what the eunuch, Ethiopian eunuch, which is an Israelite, said to Philip, unless some man guide me. You have to be guided by a man. That's also in Romans chapter 10. So let's listen.
And understand everything is belief. We have not seen a lot of things that we believe in, period. That's your faith. So even though in Hebrews 11:1 it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, you can hope the man that you meet is the man of your dreams. That's faith too. You hope that.
You know what? Let me come back. Let me come back. I gotta come back. I gotta come back because it was a sister that asked a question. And you know what I find out? These people train themselves mentally. Anything you show them in the scriptures that might lean to them being the people, they always have a pushback for it. It's just in their spirit. They have a pushback in it. So you know what a lot of Jakes do? comedic Jakes and Jake, you know what I mean by that. A lot of them are trained to say, convince themselves that they're not, that this is not the truth. No matter what he says, no matter how much sense, no matter how much sense it makes, if I'm saying it right, it's coming out wrong. No matter how many times they bring out a sensible argument that makes sense, their inner mechanism says, yeah, but what about this and what about that? And can you prove it? The Bible is not about proving. I can't prove to you that the Lord actually turned water into wine, but it's in the scriptures and I believe it. I can't go into the details of how it happened, how it happens. Well, the Red Sea, how can the Red Sea split like that? That's human. There's no body of water that ever split like that. So they're trained to not see it. So why would I wait? Look, this, if I was on this thing, I would have said, look, man, I'm out of here. Who are you going? You said I'm out of here. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Just like it's a waste of time dealing with Vocab Malone. Vocab Malone rolled up on us. It was a complete waste of time. So let's listen. And it's a complete waste of time going to these Christians. These Christians are seared with a hot iron, man. You tell them that the Lord's father was Joseph, they're gonna say no. It was the Holy Spirit. It was this. Why? Because they're regurgitating the crap that they learned from the churches. These churches are in a deep hole, man. They can't get it. You can't wake these churches up because they're gonna always go back to what they were taught. They're always gonna regurgitate to what they was taught. The majority of the Israelites, 99%, maybe 100%, before they came into the whole Israelite thing, they were Christians. I myself, I was a Protestant. But I saw things. I spoke to Muslims, Ansarah Allah Muslims, and knew about I used to go as a kid, I used to go to the Armory in Harlem. For you, the ones you in Harlem as a kid, I'm talking about 13, 14 years old, me and my friend, he's in the spiritual realm. We used to go to, we used to watch Farrakhan, man. This was back in the early 80s. Because he would go to the Armory in Harlem. I believe that's 145th, 143rd Street, right off of the Harlem River Drive. When we used to, I'd be out there, be in the audience and all that. And I listened to him, and that's it. Spoke to different Muslims. Then I came across the Israelites speaking on Times Square, 44th Street. And it clicked, it connected. I knew where the school was long before I came to school when I was a kid. I used to watch High Priest Marshall, High Priest Ariah, and High Priest Lahab at that time. That was before Yeshaya, Shaw, all of them. And then Shah, which was the son of King Marshall. I used to go out there as a kid, and the Spirit used to have me locked into them. So this is a spiritual journey. And you'll never get it if anything I tell you that makes sense to you, well, that kind of makes sense. But anyway, let's listen. Like I said, this is a good. If you don't have a topic, this is a video that you can go to because it's gonna make you, comment on what they're saying. You're gonna do a lot of listening, then you're gonna do a lot of stopping. All right. For the most part, I didn't listen to the whole thing. For the most part, the Captain Cesarek, Captain Kardazak, and the priest Alazar, they were on point. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I was a little puzzled at this here. What's your take on it? So listen up.
And you wouldn't be set free in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. When it says no man shall buy you, that word buy is talking about redeeming you. A lot of nations,
which means buy you back. Nobody's going to buy you back. Nobody's going to pull you out of these curses. Ultimately, you're going to be redeemed by our Lord. And he's coming. The paycheck that he's bringing is destruction, fire. That's the paycheck that he's going to bring.
Have been brought into slavery. We're the only ones that are still in that same prison house. We have never been set free, nowhere. And that's what was told to the children of Israel that would happen to them for their disobedience. So if I was to read it specifically, to not be condescending to the audience, in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it says, and thou shalt bring them into Egypt again.
You have to condescend to them because they're spiritually retards. They're not getting, retard just means slow. They can't get it. Isaiah 6 and 9.
The word Egypt just means bondage. Their real name would be Matazarium or Mitzrayim, depending on which dialect of Hebrew that you speak. It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you or redeem you. So if I was to read further a couple other verses in here, all of our history is contained right in this Bible. Every nation is contained in this Bible. So that's how it is.
Based on what you said, because you said a few minutes earlier that that a great part of the Bible is criticized on faith. So
I didn't say a great part of the Bible. You adding that. I said we believe.
Ultimately, the evidence that we get, the secular history that links with the scriptures. I can go to the scriptures where it speaks about Alexander the Greek or Alexander the Great, and I can go to the secular history, and Alexander did take down the Israelites and the other dark nations around about. I can go into that history. I can go into the Babylonian history. Daniel 7 goes into the head of gold. I'm sorry. Daniel 2, the head of gold and the breastplate and up shoulders of silver and so forth and so on. And then go into secular history and show you that was the Babylonians and Medial Persian Empire, the Greeks, the Romans, and then the feet of it is talking about this current beast system, NATO and the EU, which includes America and Canada. Keep going. We sound like broken records, but that's when we're going to prophetic scriptures. That's what it's talking about. That's why we keep saying it and we keep saying it. If you're not meant to get it, if the Most High hasn't opened up your eyes, your spiritual kundalini, your third eye, your pineal gland, then you ain't gonna get it. Most High works through that gland called the pineal gland, and you can decalcify it with go-to cola. Look that up. And there's a couple other things. Change your diet. You can do that. You can clean your pineal gland, but the Most High is not dealing with you. He has to open up the spirit. That's a new one. Let's listen on.
I said it's all faith. I wasn't just talking about the Bible. I said even what the brother believes is faith because none of us was back there. You believe it based on the evidence that you find. That's what I said. I didn't say nothing about the all Bible.
So it's all faith. So that goes back to my original question. So you have faith that you believe that you're an Israelite. You don't know it for sure. That's what
No, you asked it, but then you asked if I believe and know it.
Yeah, if you believe in the Bible, that is an actual book, a historical document, and you read about Israel, and it says, "Wow, it describes us." So that's the backup. But first of all, you have to believe. See what these people are doing. They're talking their way out of the truth. That's a good topic. Or thinking their way out of the truth. You can have a woman that digs you. I'm a man of a certain age. If a woman looks at me a certain way, I know that she's looking at me because she wants to get with me. All right? And I had that happen to me many a times where a woman look at you and she give you that look, you can read her mind. and you give her that look back, right? There's certain things that we know are true. So I can say, yo, she's digging on you, man. Yo, she's digging on you. Nah, she ain't. She just happening. Nah, she digging on you. She just bumped you in it. Nah. You talk your way out of it. You think your way out of it. Nah, she ain't talking to me. She's above my pay grade, above my class, and all that. So that's what these people are doing. That's what these people are doing.
And I said, yes, I believe and know it. That's what I said. And then you asked how. And then I read Deuteronomy 28 and 68. There is no historical, spiritual, nothing that can describe the conditions of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in America except that Bible. That's how I know it.
Deuteronomy 28, that's the go-to scripture to prove that we're the Israelites. That's why you got vocab alone. Well, that doesn't really mean that. And they didn't sell themselves. Sold, the Hebrew word for sold in Deuteronomy 28:68 is makar, where I believe you get the word mercantile. A lot of these English words go back to the Hebrew mercantile, which means to sell. And then the no man shall buy you means to redeem. I don't know what the Hebrew word is. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put it in the description box or whatever. Let's listen on.
No, that is so that Bible, and we're skipping over. We haven't touched on the numerous amount of Episcopal councils that the Roman Catholic Church.
But you're jumping now.
No, I'm going back to the Bible. We haven't, we're not going to touch on how, the book of Revelation was recently written, within, I think.
But see how you changing the subject. If you want to talk about Revelation.
He's talking his way out of the truth. The truth is presented for him. If you're dealing with, this is why I would be on this thing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, looking at my watch. I said, I got to go. I said, I'll do an Irish exit. Look that up. I would do it. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back and never come back. That's called an Irish exit. Or get up and just leave. The other people, why are you leaving, Tal? Where you going? I'm going to the bathroom. You've been in the bathroom for an hour. Look, it's a way. If somebody asks you directions, right? You know where the place is. You're on 102nd Street, 96th Street, or whatever, Broadway, or whatever. Somebody want to go to Harlem, 125th Street, Broadway. You tell them go straight up. Then they're asking you, well, are you sure about it? And I say, yes, I'm sure. Well, are you a master in maps? And I look at this map here, and somebody told me different. You know what you're going to look to do? You're going to look for an exit. I said, I'm not going to sit here for an hour trying to make you accept the fact that that's where. Well, how do I know if it's true? Well, you said you went up there and you know the area, but how do I know if you got to get away? Let me get away from this motherfucker. That's what you say in your mind. So I would have got up and left. I said, look, this interview is over. And everybody seems to compare all these different Islam, Christianity, they all compare their beliefs with the Bible. What does it say? What does it say in Isaiah 34:16? You can't make this with any of the book. That's why everybody challenges this book, because they know, in their part of the spirit knows that this is the truth, but the Most High haven't opened up their kundalini, their third eye, their pineal gland.
Then we can. But you was talking about me. What do I do?
Revelation is an example. It's one book that's in the Bible. So we're not talking about how the Bible was a book.
But that's not what you asked me. You asked me, do I believe and know it? Right. And so I gave an example of believing and knowing it. And now you're running into when Revelations was. Just listen, hear me out, Brandon. You're trying to run to when Revelations was translated. At some point, the Bible was written in Hebrew and Greek. So you're going to find translations of that Hebrew and Greek all throughout history, but that's a different conversation. You asked me if I believe and I know it, and I substantiate it by giving Jeremiah 17:4, we shall be cut off from our inheritance, and Deuteronomy 28:68 of us being brought over here on slave ships.
But isn't that? Can I ask this
Wait,
question?
let the sister ask the question. Let the sister ask the question. Hold on, Brenda. Let the sister ask the question.
Because even when you talk about faith and talk about Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Correct.
So, okay, so even when it comes to faith and believing, like I got to hope and believe in something that I haven't yet seen.
Correct.
So
no, that's absolutely correct.
No, how is that a knowing? Like when you talk about how Adam knew Eve, that was something that they were intimate with, something that they actually experienced. So how can I be so confident in something that I haven't seen? Is it like, and I understand where you come from with that, but it's almost like I have to, like even when you talk about like by her faith she was made whole. It wasn't the fact that she touched the hem of his garment, but it was the fact that she believed. Like so, there was something in her that had to manifest because she had faith that she would. So it's like, is that a mental thing or a spiritual thing? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and I think it's a little bit of both. That's why I said.
A good answer, Cap. It is a mental and spiritual thing because you hear about Israel. It's mental. That makes sense. Let me go study that. That makes sense. We might be, if you're slated to be woken up to this truth, your eyes, spiritual eyes will be open, then the Most High will wake. It's stages that you come into this. You got a guy that's out there, no beard on his face. He listened to you, kind of ran into the Israelites, but then he's intrigued by it, and he always comes out there, and he's got to watch the next Hebrew video, and then he's got to find out, based upon where he lives, is there a camp that I can get with? So he goes through IUIC videos, ISUBK, GMS. Then he said, I'm gonna go with IUIC, or I'm gonna go with ISBK, or I'm gonna go with GMS. Notice all these men in GMS, they ain't nobody leaving GMS to go join the IUIC. All right, and that goes for IUIC ain't leaving because they believe each one has the truth, but there's a true truth, 100% truth.
Me and Dorian have faith in what we believe on what we haven't seen. Everything is faith on what you believe. If you're going in for surgery, you believe this doctor can do it, even though you never saw that doctor do what he said he could do. But you believe it. You have faith that. I'm sorry.
Well, Cap, in terms of belief, I listen. I have a theory, and my theory is this Dorian. My theory is based on certain things, but I'm open to change and shift in light of new information. So belief, either I know it or I don't. For me, I don't have.
No, I get that part, but that's fine. So even with you saying that you would yield to change, you still set off by having a belief based on your studies. So based on what you study, what you look up, what you put your trust in, you conduct yourself in that manner. So we like to make the Bible is spiritual, of course. And the only reason I'm trying to bring it down to a level so that we can understand everything is belief. We have not seen a lot of things that we believe in, period. That's your faith. So even though in Hebrews 11:1 it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, you can hope the man that you meet is the man of your dreams. That's faith too. You hope that in courting this brother for 6 months, he's going to do everything that he said he was going to do. But you ain't seen it yet. And so and the reason why I say it like that, so we can not make the Bible mythological in the sense that it's hard to believe that the Bible could tell what would happen to us, and then we see it play out thousands of years later. Because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the Lord told Moses what would happen to the children of Israel, a specific people. And so now we're in that time of that specific people. And so when we read these prophecies, and not just of the children of Israel, even the so-called white man living by the sword, he calls himself Caucasian, which is a cave dweller. When it talks about the children of Eden, what does it say? Thou who dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Because Esau was a cave dweller. The so-called white man calls himself a cave dweller. So the Bible spoke about what the white man would call himself when he was calling himself Esau. So everything in that Bible can be correlated to today. A year.
All right now.
Muslims. Yeah, we eat. Yeah, we eat. Yeah, we eat up in here. Yeah, we eat up in here. Yeah, we eat. I'm in Messi. Boy, that reference is looking a bit shaky. I'm on it right now. It's looking a bit shaky. I mean, all of that sounds good. Like a lot of what you said, it just sounded good. You just learned a lot of stuff tonight. But notice, I've actually some things, and this is what happened. You got to understand, we're not new to this. You know, you can see Captain Zarya, Captain Kadazar, myself beating up on, you know, people who try to come from this perspective frequently. What happens is this: you try to put all the onus on us, and then when we actually give you the facts, then you try to tell us why our facts aren't facts, yet you have not presented a fact yet, right? And that's a demonstration of how disingenuous a lot of these arguments are. So because you don't present anything.
Bottom line, it's a waste of time dealing with these people. If you see they can't get it, just leave them alone.
We present things, and then you go, well, no. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You present something. No, sir. Okay, so listen. Historically, the Hyksos were real people that existed in Egypt. Secondly, what I asked you, are we talking about you spoke to the Exodus. I'm talking about the Hyksos. No, I'm not.
I believe the Hyksos are the Israelites. That was a name that the so-called Egyptians gave to the Israelites. They didn't call them Hebrews, they call them Hyksos, which is supposedly, due to research, means shepherd kings. And we were shepherds.
I'm not, because the Hyksos was the group was the group from across the Sinai that was there. That many scholars attribute to the Hebrews, but they were not slaves.
When he says scholars, he's talking about white scholars. You niggas wouldn't know nothing about the so-called Kemetic thing if it wasn't for the white men. If it wasn't for one guy named many. I got a book on this. Champion. I might say his name, Champion. He was a key guy in digging up, going to the whole thing about the Rosetta Stone. What was the Rosetta Stone? You had the ancient hieroglyph, then you had I believe it's called Demontix, if I'm not mistaken, which is like another form of Egyptian. Then it was translated from the Demontic, if I'm saying it right, into the Greek. So if you know Greek, you can therefore break down the hieroglyphs. And you Jakes didn't do that. All right. Dr. Yosef Ben Yayakim, which by the way is a Hebrew name. Yosef is Yahweh Hebrew. Yayakim is Jacob. So he didn't even have an African name. That's a Hebrew name. He didn't dig it. He had to learn under them. What's his name? Chik Anta Diop, out of, I believe, Nigeria. I believe he's a Jake, by the way. He's an Israelite. He learned that whole black studies thing, let's call it. He went to France. He learned it from white people, man. And I believe Champion alone was a Frenchman and a Mason, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, this is my point. Anybody can look this. Oh, let me finish. Okay, I know you're not. What you're doing is you were speaking to the Exodus. I asked about Hebrews being slaves. You spoke to something that could potentially be the Exodus. But again, I'm reading that, and that in and of itself has some holes in it. But you spoke to the Exodus and not Hebrews being slaves.
Swiss cheese has holes in it. You don't throw it away, right? You're supposed to either fill the holes. That means there's some truth to it, but then there's holes in it. Well, you find out. Let's either the full truth or you find an ancient relic. Part of it is missing, so you have to put the pieces back together.
There are a number of folk. I spoke to the Hebrew beings. How long were the Hebrew slaves in Egypt, Gorilla? How long were they slaves? The Gorilla, about 200 years. Now, Dorian, what? Hold on, Dorian.
I don't know where he got the 200 years, but I'll be fair. I hope he does a video explaining it. This came up years, more than about 20 years ago at One West with Yashawan and them, but they said, we was only in Egypt for 275 years. Then you got HODC, and I believe they said 200 or 200 some odd years. And they also teach in HODC is that Genesis 15 is talking about the American captivity, which it's clearly not talking about it because it speaks about the Amorites, the Canaanites, their iniquity not being full or fulfilled. So, you gotta give me some more intel on that.
Be clear, you ain't let him finish at all, bro. No, he got it. It's cool. I'll go after you. This is the problem. My point is being misrepresented. So when my point is being misrepresented, I have to stop it. So I actually can be engaged on the point I made, not one I didn't make. I spoke to the Exodus in reference to Amenisi and his slave rebellion that he led that is well documented in Egyptian history. But
that's secular history. That's not in the scriptures. That could be true. Maybe it's not true. I don't know all about that. A lot of times, well, it has to be based off of the 200 years, whatever. You go to Genesis 15, or maybe I don't know. Maybe the Sakari believes that Genesis 15 is talking about 400 years in America, which that doesn't make any sense because the bulk of the slaves got over here. Matter of fact, we started coming over here to the Americas, mainly Central America, and going northbound. That was 1500s. The first so-called West Africans that was brought over here was brought down to this the island of Hispaniola, which is Santo Domingo, which is the other half is Haiti. Those are Africans. So a lot of those so-called Simeonites are really Judite, Benjamite, Levite.
Speaking to the slaves that were where is, which was your question, right? The slave rebellion. Hold on, Dorian. I'm getting there. In order for slaves to rebel, they had to be in slavery. So when I talk about Amenisi slave rebellion, and you say, well, you spoke to the Exodus, you didn't speak to Hebrews being slaves. The Hebrews had to have been slaves. The people I'm talking about had to have been slaves in order for them to rebel and then escape, right? The people are called the Shasu, Shasu, Shasu people. The people who wear the same fringes and tzitzits as that the Hebrews were, the people who called on the predecessor to the tetragrammaton, which is the trigrammaton, right? You can research all of this. This is all very easy. That's the people who were slaves. That's the people in which Amenisi led out of Egypt in the slave rebellion, documented exactly like it happens in the Bible, and even in a more detailed sense in the Egyptian history and record. So the two things I'm going to say to that is this, or the few things. The first thing is, where is the slave rebellion documented? That's the first thing. I've already given you the reference. Okay. I've already given you the reference. Okay, so now you spoke of fringes and you spoke of things of that nature. There are a number of things that have come out of ancient Kemet. A number of things that have come out of ancient Kemet that we find in the Bible. What have you? Okay. First, wait, no, let's throw. What you will have to do is you will have to, one, have the reference. You said you gave me the reference. I want you to give it, just send it to me in the back channel again. You gave the reference. What you have to do now is qualify without a shadow of a doubt, because you're speaking in a definitive manner that those were actual Hebrews. That's the second thing you will have to do.
You would have to believe it. And see, this is why you don't go into these, don't go deep into this secular history, because you can always argue against it, because you have to match up secular history with the scriptures. I don't go into a lot of secular history. I might go touch into some secular history, like I said earlier in this video. You read about Alexander the Greek is mentioned in the scriptures. Matter of fact, his name is actually mentioned in the Apocrypha, in First Maccabees 1. Philip of Macedonia is mentioned in the Maccabees. The king of Grecia in Daniel 8 is Alexander. But then you can say, but how can you prove that? So when you go so deep into secular history, you're trying to prove no, this is about truth. The only ones that's going to get it, the only ones whose eyes are going to be open to it are the elect. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 9. Let you listen to a little bit more. I would, like I said, I would have did an Irish exit a long time ago. Let's listen to a little bit more.
And the third thing, the third thing is that you have the understanding is this: when you look at the Hyksos that many scholars attribute as being what is referenced the Hebrews in Egypt, when you look at the Hyksos, they were there.
Yeah, I believe my personal belief. I'm not going to shove it down nobody's throat. Somebody can say, "Well, I can't see it too hard." Okay, that's good. No big deal. The word Hyksos is not in the Bible, but I do believe that. And I did a video on the Hyksos, I didn't make any commentary. It was just different pictures with some ancient, um, what I thought was ancient, think is ancient Egyptian music. Never heard ancient, never got into a time machine and went back and actually heard what the music sounded like. But if you put in, if you go to YouTube and you put in, I believe the title was, were the Hyksos Israelites, were the Hyksos Israelites. And you'll see the video. I forget what YouTube page I put it under. I can't go back into it. I don't even know what the password is. We're talking about, this got to be over about 10 plus years ago. So let's listen to a little bit more.
There were a number of foreigners, so to speak, that were there that literally took on Egyptian culture, custom, garb, and everything else. Everything else. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. You had Israelites that, follow the Egyptian way. You had Moses that was raised up in the Pharaoh's house as an Egyptian, but he knew he was an Israelite because who raised him up? His mother and his sister.
So now you have to demonstrate without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe we don't have time for it right now. You have to demonstrate without a shadow of a doubt that those were Hebrews, not just by what they wore.
And you can't do that. There's going to be holes, like you said. There's going to be holes in that. Well, what about this and what about that? Don't make no sense. Let's listen to a little bit more. I'm about ready to close this. Like I said, I would have got the hell out a long time ago. This is a complete waste of time. But then again, it's not, because it's pushing the narrative of vocab's term, Hebrew Israelism.
Not just by the description that is in the Bible of the Hebrews.
Okay,
can't do it.
So what you have to do is that
This guy wants you to actually bring the Most High down. Get on the phone. Oh, Most High, come down. Show him that you him. Let's say the Most High comes down. He said, "Nah, that's a hologram. That ain't him." Let's say he turns the guy into a donkey. He can still talk. Yeah, well, that's an old trick, and Egyptians did. You're wasting your time with these people. They're going to get it when the kingdom comes. That's why they're going to have to literally be born again.
let me straighten this out a shadow of a doubt that they are not Hebrews. First chapter, Egyptian language means people of the Levant, which is where the Hebrews come from. They were the guard.
That's where the Hyksos came from. The Hyksos do too. Bro, listen, you've been cutting me off all night.
Dorian.
The Hyksos do too.
You just named for me three things that I have to do, and then when I start to do them, now I get to get talked to. What sense is that?
You answer this question
keep
with a
talking about the
question.
Hyksos. No, I didn't answer his question with a question. Nice try.
No, you most certainly answered this question with a
Hold on, bro. Hold on. I didn't answer his question with a question. He's telling me what I
He said what I have
to him. I'm telling him now.
question. So you're answering this question with a question.
See, a spiritual man wouldn't. This is what? This is an hour and almost 40 minutes in, and they're gonna go another what, almost 3 hours, and I guarantee you this shit ain't going nowhere. Let's jump. We're at almost 3 hours and 50 minutes in, and they still there. I would have been home sleep already.
Accusation, and I want you to answer. Because you guys got a long-standing history, right?
Right.
From what I'm seeing, you named yourself as the authority of the Bible.
I never named myself as an authority on anything.
Well, I'm an authority of the Bible. That means I know the Bible. So we are authorities. You got to come to us to get the answers. Esau comes to us to get the answers behind the scenes.
I was in one of the Bible studies last night. I don't know, for the other day, and the brother was telling the crowd, it's not against the law to take ashes and keep ashes in your house, but it's against our customs. And he basically preached against it. So therefore, putting himself in a place.
So if he said it's not unlawful, but it's not our custom, he's not preaching against it.
Now you cut me up. This is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. You just asked me not to cut you off, don't cut me up. So what I'm saying, can we go look at these lines upon lines and precepts upon precepts and see if it's possible you've been behaving in a hypocritical manner?
Okay, so
judgment on your brother.
So now what you just said was idiotic. You said we the authority. You said I was the authority in the Bible. I said I'm not.
Place yourself.
Right. Right. You said I placed myself as the
Authority means expert. You know the Bible. Eat this roll. Eat this roll to Ezekiel 3. Eat this roll. Go out and teach the children of Israel. Eat the roll meaning become an authority of the scriptures. Then you can teach Israel. So we are authority. You making yourself an authority? Yes, we are an authority of the scriptures.
Okay, you saying organization, but you saying organization now. Your first statement was, I named myself as the authority on the Bible. That's what you said, and I said I did not. Brother, the replays is on. That is exactly. That's a wait. No, well, let's get to the point because I'm gonna show how idiotic. I can show you how idiotic you are. So I said I'm not the authority, and then you brought up the brother that was teaching the class and how he said it's not unlawful, but it's not our custom. So he wasn't even being the authority if you chose to bring ashes in your house. He just said it's not our custom. So I don't even know why you brought that up. That's all you quoted that he said.
This is going absolutely nowhere. We're almost 4 hours in, and these guys are going to be in there for almost another hour. Let me jump a little bit. Let me go to 4:11. This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Bringing excellent dialogue here. Even my man Roderick, I don't know if he's on the stage anymore, but shout out to that brother. Maybe we do this next week. We'll see.
Next week. Let's do this next. Are you crazy? This is a fucking, you know what's going to happen next week? The same shit that's happening this week. Anyway, man, look, this shows you that why GMS has 100% truth, all right? Anyway, get back to me on that 200-year thing. Priest Al-Azhar. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to go into secular history. What remains is Genesis 15, 400 years, 430 years, 400 years afflicted. All right? So get back to me on that. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.